Alright guys, what is going on? It is Christian here for Hypothetically Speaking. Today I am talking to Adam PACITTI, COO, CEO, Director, Head Honcho of CULTAHOLIC and also Team Triple Jump, who are their sister company. In case you don't know, first of all, you got to like and subscribe, it's the rules. But Hypothetically Speaking is a question-based podcast about hypotheticals that open up a bunch of different avenues. If you haven't watched it before, do watch it. It is quite an interesting podcast. The concept is pretty unique and allows for you to find out stuff about the person that I'm interviewing that you probably didn't know about them. All of the social links will be down in the description below. Also drop a comment, maybe with some of the questions that we could potentially ask, also with guests that you want to see on. Let's get into the podcast. So Adam, thank you very much for joining me. Welcome to this podcast, Hypothetically Speaking. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. So, you are COO, Director. You are the Triple H of CULTAHOLIC, is that true? Or Vince McMahon, actually.
I guess so. I'm the managing director. I don't know if I want to be compared to Vince McMahon given current circumstances. Let's roll with it. Yeah, I'm the managing director. I guess I oversee the day-to-day operations of Cultaholic and its sister brand Triple Jump, our gaming channel. So, but also I do, much like Vince McMahon, I also appear on screen and run various shows in Saudi Arabia.
Triple Jump is actually something that I'm extremely interested in as a big gamer. How did that come about? Am I right in thinking that you definitely left before them, but then they had left and went off to Vidiots?
Yeah, so Ben and Peter left about, I think it was like a month after we did, and I think that's something that had been in the works for a while. So Ben and Peter left What Culture shortly after us. They went and did Vidiots down in Bristol, and then I got chatting to Ben at EGX about a year on from that, and they were I think they were really happy doing Vidiots and everything, but they maybe wanted to try something new again. We got chatting, and essentially I knew from my time at What Culture with them that they're just two ridiculously talented, charismatic people, and they have this chemistry which is very, very difficult to manufacture. They're just so good on screen together, and so the opportunity arose. It made sense to do it. It was our first big venture outside of wrestling, and it's grown really nicely. So happy that we did.
Yeah, they've when I first started watching it, I didn't get it. It took me a while to understand the bond that they have, the chemistry that they have with one another, and when you get it, it just clicks, and it makes the content that they produce, even if they produce something that isn't particularly, if it's a gaming console that I haven't played, or it's just entertaining to watch. And I think you guys at Cultaholic have done that very well as well, because I stopped watching WWE when they changed from Sky to BT because I didn't have BT, and I'm still watching your videos despite the fact that I have very little reference to what's going on, and I'm following the journey of WWE through you guys. How much did you find that pulling you five together, 4 or 5, depending on what you're talking about, that started Cultaholic was personality driven?
Well, I think it's the, I don't want to say our unique selling point, but I think it's something that we do really, really well. It helps that everyone that you see on screen, we're genuine friends. And so there's hopefully chemistry there already, but as far as the personality based stuff goes, it's always been our aim, our objective, to feel like we're your mates, and we're reaching through the camera, and if a lot of wrestling fans, they don't have people to talk about wrestling with, because wrestling is this weird taboo thing where, first of all, you either love it or you hate it, but also some people are really ashamed to talk about wrestling because, oh, it's fake and it's, whatever. So hopefully us being so open about our passion for it, and hopefully being funny at the same time, hopefully that resonates with people, and they feel like maybe that if they don't have people that they can talk about wrestling with, they can experience it with us. That's always been the goal, and we try and do that in everything that we do, from the news or reaction videos. It's meant to be a group of mates enjoying something that they truly love and celebrating something that they love and not being ashamed of it.
I'm going to explain the concept to you a little bit. It's called Hypothetically Speaking. So we're talking about hypothetical questions. Now, I have a selection of 5, which all have a nice intriguing title from which you can choose. So there are 5 questions. As I say, they've all got a nice little tagline. So number 1 is beauty versus intelligence. Number 2 is changing the world one step at a time. Number 3 is the unknown boundaries of death. That was nice and light-hearted. Number 4 is your life expectancy. And number 5 is your moral compass. Which one of those would you like to hear a question on?
Hey, listen, if this is the first one, let's start things off on a positive note, and let's go with the death one.
Of course. I wouldn't expect anything else. So, this is a question on what happens when we die, the 2 things that people expect to happen, but there's a little twist. So the question is, if when you die you are given the choice between finding out what is next, which is unspecified, or staying on Earth as a ghost to wander the planet alone forever, which would you choose and why?
Without a doubt, I'm being a ghost, because it would just be a lot. I could do all of the things that I do now, and I wouldn't even have to pay for any of them. Being a ghost sounds class because you're living rent-free. If I want to go on a roller coaster, I can skip to the front of the line. I'm assuming that I'm a sort of Casper-like ghost in that I can be seen, but I'm not like a
stereotypical ghost.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, that sounds alright, and you just spend your life, or well, your death, I guess, bothering people, and that sounds quite appealing in itself too.
Do you not think that if we're going back to earlier, we're talking about you being alone for some time is starting to drive you a bit crazy? Is that not it amplified by an infinite amount? Because technically you're stuck. Then the 2 choices are: do you find out what happens next and leave, or do you stay around? And then of course there's obviously other points in that as well, like existential. Like you end up seeing the people that you ultimately love when you pass away, then grow up and die.
Mm-hmm. I'm failing to see a negative here, Christian.
Right? No,
I think it just sounds alright. First of all, I could go back and I could visit the people who I don't like, or through life, and upset them. So Billy Wilson, who broke my South Park pencil case at primary school, never got over it. Go and bother him, assuming he's still alive. Hopefully not. Yeah. No, and then I could. And the whole point of it's going to amplify the me being alone thing. I think you misunderstand my way of communicating with people, which is just talking at them, and I could do that for the rest of my life. I don't really mind if they don't reply. That's all right. I'll have a conversation with myself, but I can. And you also said that, I'm going to have to see all the people that, if I have a daughter or a son or whatever, I'm going to have to see them die too. It'd be nice not to see them die. It'd be nice to see them grow up.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really
of course.
That's a lovely thing to experience.
Yeah, and I mean that's infinite as well. You always have a family tree, and you always be able to track it to some extent.
You'd fall out of love with them, wouldn't you? Like after a few generations, you just sort of stop caring because there wouldn't be the people that you had any real experiences with. So my great grandson, I'm not going to give a toss about if I'm honest.
Of course, yeah. It's interesting because it gives you the option of potential nothingness or potentially everything if you believe in infinite life and heaven and it being this place where you can live forever and happy. I'm just thinking back to the pencil case. Is that your biggest enemy?
Little Billy Wilson, he's up there.
Yeah.
No, I'm fortunate in that no people haven't been especially horrible to me in my life, but I as I say, winding people up who deserve it. I could just pop into God, who bothers me? James Corden. Just pop into his house, and I'm assuming I can be a poltergeist. I can choose which type of ghost I want to be. Just smash his crockery up. Why not? He's done enough.
But that's
damage in the world.
You saying that you've passed away earlier than him. I mean,
yeah, which is unlikely because of his obvious morbid obesity, but. That was a bit much. Okay, maybe James Corden, but there'll be future generations of rubbish people, and I could just go in and wind them up a little bit, and Billy Wilson as well.
And Billy Wilson, definitely. So I've known about you for a long time, dating back to Employ Adam, which I genuinely believe that I watched when it went out on TV. Because was it on London Tonight or Granada?
Yeah, London Tonight rings a bell. I mean, it got a lot of TV coverage at the time. I was really fortunate in the amount of coverage that people were willing to give it. But yeah, I think that's one of the ones that it did go out on. Yeah.
That is unprecedented at that time. That is a bold move. What led you to make that choice? Because and was it true?
Okay, first of all, no, it wasn't true. It was true in that I didn't have a job that I was especially enjoying, or maybe not. No, I was enjoying it. I was working in an arcade at the time when I came up with it. I was working back on the Isle of Wight, where I'm from, working in an arcade, and it was actually a really, really fun job. Got to keep all the 2Ps you could find. All my mates worked down there. You're working out in the sun a lot of the time. I was working out sometimes out on the fun park, on the mini golf course, or out in the snack bar selling ice creams or whatever. But I also realised it wasn't a career. I wanted to work in the media, and I didn't really know what that meant, and I still don't really know what that means. But I wanted to do something like that, and the problem is if you do something like that, then you've got to you might have to move to, I don't know, London or Manchester or wherever. You can't do much of that from the Isle of Wight, and I just couldn't afford it. I didn't have any money, and if you go and do something like that, let's say you get a job in TV, you might be unpaid for months on end. You might become a runner if you're lucky, but it's pretty difficult to make ends meet. And I just came up with that idea while I was working in the arcade one day, and I thought, you know what, that's actually a bit of a shortcut. And if this takes off somewhere, some agency or production company or something which is obsessed with digital and going viral and being trendy, you might just think, hey, this kid, he's a bright spark. Let's give him a job that's not rubbish. And I was really fortunate, and that happened.
Yeah, and they followed on, didn't they? They actually ended up paying for a billboard that said that you had the job or that you've got a job. And
yeah, that was like the first thing. When I got there, I was like, hey, you've been decent enough to give me this job. Really, really appreciate it. And try and get some PR for you guys now. Let's do this and let's shout about your company. And so
that was your doing?
Well, I didn't pay for it. They paid for it.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The second one said I spent my first paycheck. No, that was bollocks as well. They paid for it, but it was good for them because it got them a bit of exposure. It got them a little bit of TV time and newspaper coverage. and the billboards aren't even that expensive. If you buy one really close to the date that you need it in an area that just doesn't have a billboard going up, you can get them for like 140 quid.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we did that, and it was really fun. It was a great job working there. I loved it, and I got to learn a lot of really interesting things, and I got to work with some big clients. I guess I was producing the Channel 4 show River Cottages digital video output for a while, and that was fun, and I learned loads. I failed at everything I did, which I desperately needed at that point because I was such an arrogant little prick. And I went in there, and my job title was viral producer. I made nothing go viral. Tried to do YouTube. I was crap at it. Still a bit crap at it. And I did all of this stuff, and nothing worked. Nothing worked at all, and I didn't make anything successful off my own back. And that was a real sort of like a bit of a wake up call. And it's like, actually, you've been really arrogant in putting the billboard up and saying that you're good at all these things, but in the real world, you're rubbish. And so I went away and I continued to learn, and hopefully got better.
There's a lot to be said about viral moments, especially with me working in social media and influencer marketing. The more you try and create one, the more forced it feels, and the less likely it is to become viral. I think the Employ Adam billboard was fantastic in its simplicity, and I mean it had been done before in various, like people standing at a tube station handing out flyers of what's going, but nothing certainly that I can remember, and definitely at the time it caused. Was it in nationals? It must have been in nationals.
Yeah. So when I've done viral stuff before, the way that I've got it. In nationals is by going to the local paper first, knowing that a lot of those journalists will also want to pitch it to the nationals for some extra cash. And so it did nationals, and it was front page of Reddit countless times. It was picked up on US TV. It went all over the place. I think in the first day it did something like 4 million hits on the website, and God knows how many impressions on the picture of the billboard way back when.
That's great. So, next question, second question. Just to remind you again, you picked number 3, the unknown boundaries of death. Number 1 is beauty versus intelligence. Number 2 is changing the world one step at a time. Number 4 is your life expectancy. And number 5 is your moral compass. Which one would you like to choose?
Let's go changing the world one step at a time.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. And something I could see you doing, actually. If you were the Prime Minister for one day, and you had one chance to make one change, and it can be as big as you want, but you have to have some sort of planning, or you can't just say end poverty, because there's certain steps to that. What change would you make?
Wow. Okay, that's a big one, isn't it?
I mean, it can be centralized to yourself. It could be a family thing. It could be a national thing. I mean, you could try international, but yeah.
So, part of me wants to do the whole Aladdin genie in the lamp thing and go. The one change I'd make is that I'm Prime Minister forever, and then I can make all the changes I want. But I won't do that to you. I'm going to. Oh man, this is tough. This is really, really tough. I'm going to make it compulsory for every person to have a pet.
I love that. That.
So, I was having a bit of a rough time of it, sort of mental health wise, and I'd had a few pets before, but they were all pretty rubbish. I had a snake. That's not going to give anyone any affection, and I lost her. She escaped one day, and I never found her again. And I had a gecko, but he lived for like 2 years, and again not very affectionate. And then I got my cat, Mr. Happy, and it's sort of given me, in a really lame way, a bit of purpose, and it's nice to wake up. It's nice to wake up with something, and not that I sleep with the cat. It's nice to. I come home and there's this thing here that just gives me heaps of affection immediately, and he's really happy to see me. He just wants feeding, really, but it makes me feel loved. I'm coming across as a very lonely individual here, aren't I? I'm gonna make it compulsory because I think everybody needs that, and I've got friends who have never had pets as kids or anything growing up, and I think people are just missing out. And I think it makes you a more. Is it fair to say it makes you a more compassionate person?
Yeah, I think so. I want to circumvent your point by saying that, obviously there are idiots out there, and to make sure that all pets go to a safe place, but that I was being, I guess I'm thinking about this too much, but...
No, that's a fair point, because some
agree.
people suck. I mean, I got my cat from the Cats Protection, and he was there because people had been really nasty to him in 2 previous homes. So
that.
Maybe forcing animals on people is inviting them to be horrible people. Maybe some people aren't ready for that.
I completely understand the sentiment behind it, and it definitely does. It's calming. I mean, having a dog and a cat have been proved to reduce stress. It does give you a sense of purpose, and it always reminds me of the Ricky Gervais thing in the first Afterlife. And obviously you said you were going through some mental health problems. Now, this was to the extreme, but he said that, obviously I'm not referencing this to you, but it just reminded me that he was going to wake up and kill himself, but the dog needed feeding. So the animals give you... He didn't want to leave the animal in a position where it felt like it needed something, and he felt bad because of that. And the reason that he felt bad because of that is because animals allow you to give unconditional love, and they provide that to you as well. How is your cat? I know you've had a few issues with him.
He's always poorly. I knew he'd be poorly when I got him, but he was stuck in there for like 4 months or something because nobody wanted to take him because he's got this urinary issue. Which means he has to eat like special food, and he's sort of more susceptible to health issues, and he has to go to the vet a lot. But he's grand. He's always just kicking about, making everything that I own furry, and that's fine. I'm going to give you a different one because you've filled me full of concern that some people might not be happy. So it might not be very pleasant to animals. So I'm going to ban Mrs. Brown's Boys instead, because screw that show. It came on the other day before I was streaming. For some reason, it was there on one of the stream things that I was using, and it was just on in the background. And if you watch that, or you don't deserve to have an animal, but I could say much stronger things too.
Is that how we're deciding who gets the animal? Question 1: do you watch Mrs. Brown's Boys?
Maybe that's a good
yes. I've never understood the fascination with that program. I know this is unpopular because it is very popular. It's anti-comedy to me, and I think to a lot of comedians as well, which is strange because I believe that the man who plays the main character, his stand-up is quite good.
Brendan Carroll, yeah, I've heard good things.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. But like people, I guess. Oh man, I'm going to come across as a snob here. They dumb down because they get paid lots of money to do so, don't they? You can see it in. I'm not going to name any names, but some comedians just go lowest common denominator. Because, hey, Harry Hill, right? He's a doctor.
Yeah.
His show's not the most highbrow by any means. He's a lot smarter than he makes out on TV, but it makes him a lot of money. So fair play to him there. But screw Mrs.
Yeah, and his stand-up as well is the same. His stand-up is very. It's strange, but it's fun to watch. Nothing like TV burp or anything like that, but yes, I get that completely. The last question, number 3, we have beauty versus intelligence, we have your life expectancy, or we have your moral compass. Which one would you like to choose?
Let's go beauty versus intelligence.
So the question is, you are offered a pill, it makes you 25% more intelligent than you are now.
Not possible.
But permanently remove your hair, including your eyebrows, which I believe you have done before.
Yeah, it was awful. That's right, 25% more intelligent, but I lose my hair and eyebrows. The eyebrows
and
is
it's
the problem.
permanent.
I was really worried, so we did that. We did a video for anyone unfamiliar with what I do. We do these challenges, and if you lose, you do a punishment. And the first punishment we did when we started Cultaholic was the shaving of one's hair and eyebrows. And the hair coming off was fine. I was really worried that I was going to have a weird lumpy head. That was all right. And then the eyebrows came off, and I did not look normal. And I can't draw eyebrows on. I tried it. It looked really nuts. I'm trying to think, would I be happier if I was more intelligent? I'm not an especially clever guy. I don't think I'm stupid either. I don't think I'd be happier. I don't think I'd be happier because
I think that brings up
it's good at like pub quizzes and stuff. I
you-
don't want to work in academia. I don't want to work for a think tank. I don't want to work in investment banking. Not that you need to be incredibly intelligent to do any of those things. And you know what? The people that are really, really smart are quite often ludicrously socially inept, or at least the people that I've met are. They can't have a conversation in the pub. I'm friends with some academics, and I've met some of their colleagues. And yeah, they're really clever. But if that prevents you from chatting away to a normal person in the pub, I'm not sure I'd want that.
I think that you would still keep your social skills because from the academics that I know, I'd say a lot of them were recluse, in their youth when I don't know, I guess people that are slightly more outgoing were going out on their bikes, etc., etc. I think you would keep that. So I don't think that would be something that you would lose, but I do know what you mean.
I'm just a bit smarter.
Yeah, I mean 25% is quite a lot.
But it's not that much. If it was 5,000% smarter and I became the smartest man in the world, then I would be really, really tempted. Because first of all, I'd be smart enough to hide it when I needed to. You're saying I keep what little social skills I have. That's a bonus as well. But then I've got something like, 5,000 times smarter than anyone. I'd be in the Guinness Book of World Records. I could do any job that I wanted ever. I assume that I could learn pretty much any skill in mere hours, if not minutes. And that's worth it. And I'll just do, because I'd be a freak anyway, really, because I'd be that ridiculously smart bloke. Nobody's going to be going, oh, and also, he's got no hair or eyebrows. They're not going to be talking about that. They're going to be talking about the fact that I've got an IQ of like 10,000 or something. Yeah.
And let's not invite that guy who always corrects everything that we say.
Yeah, true.
Cultaholic and Triple Jump, or Cultaholic Ventures. What is next for you guys?
Hopefully getting out of quarantine. We're looking at options of new channels and so on all the time. It's one of those things that we're going to wait for the opportunity potentially to present itself to us. We got hiring Ben and Peter, and then the full-time editor James, who works on Triple Jump, was so great, and it came about really organically. We don't want to produce something. We don't want to just go out and say, okay, we want to start this channel, so we're going to hire that person, that person, that person, put them all together, and hopefully they met, because it doesn't necessarily work like that. So potentially, we'll just wait until something comes along. But we're always looking at launching new channels and things that we're passionate about and that we think we could create entertaining content around. But the focus at the moment is just really very much on Cultaholic and strengthening our output and growing that channel, as well as Triple Jump, which is coming on leaps and bounds. They're doing some amazing stuff over there, and just continuing to grow both of those things. And that's not a very exciting answer, but
that's the truth.
With the infancy of the company, it would be perhaps foolish to try and grow it very, very quickly when we're just 2 years in. We
Yeah,
know
I
what
agree.
we're doing now. Let's do it as well as possible, and then look at growing.
Thank you very much, Adam, for joining me. Where can people find you on social media?
So Cultaholic is at Cultaholic, pretty much everywhere. At Triple Jump if you want to check out the Gamer Lads. If you want to hear more from me, which I very much doubt after this, it's at Adam PACITTI on Twitter, on Instagram, and not TikTok.
Not TikTok, not yet. You haven't gone for that yet.
No. Not yet. You know what? I downloaded it the other day to see what it was all about because my friend was blabbing on about it. I'm too old for that, aren't I?
Thank you very much to Adam PACITTI for joining me there. We looked at some strange stuff, like starting off with the unknown boundaries of death and talking about animals and pets and his time at Cultaholic and before that and potentially beyond. There was a lot of stuff in there. If you have enjoyed this, please do check both me and Adam out in the description below. All of our links to socials will be in there. Do check out Cultaholic if you're a wrestling fan, or even if you want to try and get back into wrestling. They definitely have, you know, with daily news and things like that, you can definitely explore that. And they also cover a lot of AEW and the independent scene as well as WWE. Of course, with the side that it is WWE is their main focus. Also, check out Team Triple Jump. Ben Potter and Peter Austin are the two hosts over there. They do fantastic, very funny work around gaming, and they're very sarcastic and I love their content, as I said in here, and so make sure you check them out as well. Thank you for watching Hypothetically Speaking. Let me know what you think about the podcast also in the comments down below. I've been Christian. As always, have a great day. Bye.
Oh, the last video I did was hilarious. You can watch it by clicking there. Actually, I don't know because this is pre-recorded and that phone screen doesn't have anything on. But YouTube says you'll like this video, and make sure you subscribe by clicking the button down here.